Welcome back. Before the break, we gained real insight to how the national healthcare system in Canada really works. Joining us now is Lynn Gilbert, whose 15-year-old son, Braden, will need a spinal fusion. In Canada, he has to get on a list, and that's just to get a surgeon's name, and then he gets on another list for that specific surgeon, and then he has to wait. Could be years. In the meantime, might be living in excruciating pain. Lynn refused to accept that, and with the help of a U.S.-based organization called Timely Medical Alternatives, which helps Canadians find faster care, has figured out how Braden can get the procedure done in the U.S. within days rather than in months. Lynn, this is an important story because this isn't something you're unfamiliar with. You had a similar situation with your own back years ago.
I did.
Tell me what happened.
Well, I first started noticing I had back pain back when I was about 15 years old. It came and went to a doctor here and there, maybe got a painkiller, told to go to physio, kind of just accepted it as part of life, you know. And then in my 20s when I had kids, it got significantly worse. It got to the point where I had, you know, sharp pains down the backs of my legs, sides of my legs. I couldn't always pick up my kids. I didn't have the strength to do that. They would have to actually climb up onto a chair so I could pick them up. I couldn't bend down. By the time I hit about 27, it was to the point where it was seriously affecting my life. There were many things that I couldn't do. Play with my kids, I couldn't hold down a job, I couldn't sit or stand for any length of time. So I started going to see my doctor. And he again recommended, you know, anti-inflammatories, get some rest, lose a little bit of baby weight I had left on. You know, this just really just wasn't an answer for me.
But they were not suggesting going to a specialist or getting any type CAT scans or MRIs or anything like that?
Not at all. I went back a number of times, and I really got fed up with the doctor I had, so I found a new doctor. And he was very sympathetic to my pain. He ordered a X-ray, MRI, CT scan all on the same day. It took me months to get them, but he ordered them all. And that showed that I had a condition called spondylolisthesis, and I required surgery. He said that a surgeon would give me a call for a time to come into his office, and that was 9 months away.
9 months.
9 months.
Now, your son has a similar situation. It's like an inherited condition.
It is, yes.
Likely.
Yes.
You're taking a different course for him, and that's to go through Timely Medical Alternatives, and then you'll come to the United States with your son.
I will. Going through the Canadian healthcare system, I was forced to deteriorate to a point where I was basically addicted to morphine. I was using a walker to get around. I was wearing diapers because I had no control over my bladder because the nerve to my bladder had been crushed.
You were like, what, 28 years old?
Yeah, and nobody would listen to me. I went to 4 surgeons. They all told me I was too young. One of them told me specifically I was too young. I had not suffered long enough. I had not been in pain long enough. And there were people older than me and people who had been on the wait list longer than me that were going to get it first. I couldn't even get a date for a surgery.
I don't know if people at home could hear, but there were people in our audience who audibly gasped when you said that you were told that you had not been in pain long enough. Americans are not used to hearing that. No. They're not used to hearing that you just need to hang on and suffer and bite the bullet and take some more morphine and get a walker and put on a diaper, because that's not what we're used to. I want to bring Dr. Greatzer back in. Dr. Greatzer, do we have this kind of situation to look forward to if we go to a system that the government ends up becoming the primary caregiver?
Well, Governor, costs are rising in the United States, and there's a fork in the road. And some people, including the President, say, let's expand Washington's reach. Let's get really smart government bureaucrats more involved. Let's let them make some difficult decisions. And let's see if we can save some money. And ultimately, all that fancy talk simply means one thing, the rationing of health care. And you get stories like the one you've just heard, the stories I've seen where people are literally suffering, in some cases dying, for the care they need. But there's a path not taken, and that's devolving things more to individuals, individual choice and competition like we do in the other 5/6 of the economy. I don't disagree with the President in suggesting we need reform, but my goodness me, look at what goes on in Canada or Britain or Sweden. All they do there is make people suffer by making them wait for care.
You know, I want to be very clear. I don't impugn the President's motives or even that of most of the members of Congress, because I really think that they genuinely want to see reform of the healthcare system, and I think all of us agree that there is needed reform. I think the question is this the direction that we need to go? And what we're learning from you, Dr. Greatzer, and as well as from Lynn Gilbert, is that if we go to the Canadian system, it may not be a reform, it may be a deform of the system. Lynn, I want to ask about your son very quickly. You will bring him to the United States? Is that what will happen?
I'm looking to the possibility. That is my plan, yes.
Because if he stays in Canada, how long will it take before he might get the kind of help he needs?
I would say 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years.
I can't even get the name of a surgeon that will see him.
So you will have to bear the cost of this?
Yes.
And do you know other Canadians who come to the United States when they have an urgent need?
Yes.
This is not uncommon?
No. The people who have the money and who could afford to do it.
Dr. Greitzer, before we leave, let me ask you a final word here. If you had a message for the Congress of the United States and even the President, what would that message be before they make a major change in the health care delivery system here?
Slow down, read the bill, and be careful what you wish for. An expansion of government might sound tempting. It might sound like it'll solve our problems. But look at what's going on in Canada. My goodness me, a person sues the government for the right to opt out of the system because he's waited over a year with chronic hip pain for a hip replacement and he's growing addicted to morphine. Is that the health care you want for your uncle or your father?
Dr. Greitzer, Lynn Gilbert, thank you very, very much. A lot for us to think about, and I hope Americans are listening.